I've been listening to music ever since I can remember. And then one day, I heard a song that hurt me back. So I turned myself into a tape, recording stories from people who made my life sound better. Because every song is a conversation. Waiting to begin. You're probably familiar with the psychological process of band obsession. There are these phases that you go through when you discover a band, or a band happens to you rather. And here's what that cycle looks like. Disbelief. Why have I not heard these guys before? Why didn't you tell me? Then there's determination. I'm going to listen to everything they've done, so do not interrupt. Euphoria. This is the greatest piece of music I've ever listened to. I want it played at my funeral. Then there's shock, or thinly disguised greed, where you find yourself asking questions like, why have they not done more stuff? Which probably sums up my experience listening to this phenomenal Bangalore-based gem of a band, Agam. With that, I'd like to introduce you to the frontman of one of my band obsessions, Harish Sivaramakrishnan.
Hi.
Welcome to Songversations.
Thank you so much. Happy to
Okay,
be here.
Harish, this is probably self-defeating, but let me ask you, how do you like giving interviews?
Probably suck at it. But if it is something that kind of helps me speak about my music, tell a story, have a good time speaking to people, meeting people, why not?
Talking of your music, let's say we're stranded at an airport and we get talking, we've got a couple of hours to spare, and I figure you're a musician, we start talking about your music. At some point you figure there's no point talking about it, I'd rather sing a song. What
Right.
would that one song be and why?
So that's a hard one because when I make melodies, I'm not a very to just set the context. So different people write music for different reasons. Some people have a very expression-driven songwriting process. There's poetry. There's probably an emotion that you want to capture. There's a state of mind that you go through. I am purely opportunistically driven. I hear a good piece of music, then I felt, oh, that is awesome. I want to make something like that. Most of my writing sort of
Happens that way?
happens. Most of the melody. So I'll tell you. I think this was a song. There's a song called Aragana Rakshasi. It came Mudalvan. I think I was still in college, 1999, if I remember. There's this Carnatic raga called Riti Gaula, very, very fascinating sort of raga, and it started being used in a most unconventional way. People are not doing the Carnatic stuff anymore, but the same scale was picked up and Rahman was doing this wankery with it, literally it is crazy. So I was like, no, of course not, you can't do it 1% of what Rahman does. So I wanted to make something around that. So I just started singing this one piece of line in my head, I kept singing this line in my head, and it took probably 4 years after that. I had this melody in my head. I don't know what to do with it. This is all I had. No outros, no intros, nothing beyond. So this song turned out to be a song called Mystical Arberi, which we wrote before Agam came into existence.
Yeah, which is my favorite track.
Which was years before I was pretty convinced the band was not going to work out. I might probably end up making songs that nobody cares about, but hell, we'll make it. Yeah. I had a blogspot page at that point in time. So that is the only channel to push it. So then I think I met Swami, who plays keyboards for us. He also writes in Tamil, and he just said, okay, look, I'm gonna just write 2 lines for this melody. You just sing that and see if you like. And that song turned out to be the song that we finally built and completed with most of the guys who are playing with my band right now. So what happened is I just had the same line, so I didn't know how to start it. So the bass, he came and just started jamming. So he did something like this. That's all he did. That got built into it got written like that. Then that's how the whole song got built. Then we started getting a flautist to play just to I have limitations. I mean, I couldn't think beyond that. So flautist came and did his thing, and some melody started evolving from that. And that was probably one of my earliest stabs at probably making a song and end up having it recorded end to end and probably get it produced and mixed and so that was fun. I don't listen to that song too much anymore. But I like it.
Let's go back to the roots of Agam. You and Ganesh went to the same college.
Right.
And you started jamming. What happened in the meantime?
So the first ever thing that we did was like, there's a song called Nila Kaigirathu. I love that song. So the kaatru veesum vehil kaayum kaayum adil maatram edum illaye என்றென்றும் வானில் நீலா காய்கிறது நேரம் தேகிறது யாரும் ரசிக்கவில்லையே. It's like an awkward minor note. I just wanted to sing it, and he said like, oh, that's nice. I can continue playing that, but I'll start doing like accidental chords right before, so that I can build it up for you. So you don't look like an idiot. Typically, if a singer does that, it's almost like, what is this? I mean, it's not even the correct raga. So what he did was he kind of started building a very accidental chord-based structure, and it started sounding nice. So it started working, and then we said like, oh, screw this, we will make a song. And we never could save our life making a song. We never made anything. We just were jamming randomly. We had like bit songs, like half a minute, 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, and then again like a 20-second. So that is how we got together. And I think we came to Bangalore. Ganesh and I were staying together. I mean, you know how the bachelor scene in Bangalore is. So we were staying together. There was a rented keyboard. I think we got a Korg Triton. It's a nice keyboard. I mean, we can't own that. It's like really expensive with the kind of stuff. So we just rented one. We were just experimenting with the patches in that. And that song turned out to a song called Brahma's Dance that we wrote.
Probably your first song.
Yeah, it's the first song. That's the first full song that we wrote, because most of the stuff was to check out the tones. So to check the tones, we had to create a melody. So is something that he just did. And then he started looping that with multiple tone structures, one on like a strings bass, one on like a more stroke, and on the bass. It sounded nice. Then I sang a melody on top of that, and then kind of did a drop and do an alap kind of section, and that's how that song happened.
Harish, let's talk about Agam, the brand, the identity. It's inspired from Theyyam, the folk art, of course. And I find that really seamless, because that's the visual imagery I get when I listen to your songs, because it's got very spiritual undertones to it.
Right.
How have you been able to scale this idea across all of these years, considering that each person in your band brings a different taste?
Yeah. Very, very, very eloquently put. So the brand identity was my idea, predominantly because I grew up in a place called Shornur, which is rural Palakkad. My entire childhood, like the formative years of my life, was spent over there. So this Puram season, Puram tinte kaalam. These characters are what you see when you're like a small child, like when you're 4 years old, has a huge impact on you. This Theyyam, Tira, Bhudattan, Nayadi, idakke ende growing up in the key entity. I mean, these things have had an impact on me. I've seen very pacha vayalile, this brightly colored. Theyyam has this bright red costume, and you have this expanse of paddy field. Right? You can see that guy coming from the other side. പാടത്തിൻ്റെ മറ്റേ സൈഡിൽ നിന്ന് തെയ്യം വരുന്നത് എൻ്റെ വീട്ടിലിരുന്നാൽ കാണാം. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്കിങ്ങനെ എക്സൈറ്റ്മെൻ്റ് ആണ്, ആ തെയ്യം വരുന്നു. ആ ഒരു ഇമേജറി, പിന്നെ തെയ്യം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ കോൺസെപ്റ്റ് പറഞ്ഞു പഠിപ്പിച്ചത്, ഇറ്റ്സ് മാൻ ടേൺസ് ഇൻ ടു ഗോഡ്. തെയ്യം ഇസ് കൺസിഡർഡ് ടു ബി ഹൗ എ മാൻ മാനിഫെസ്റ്റ്സ് ഹിംസെൽഫ് ഇൻ ടു എ സ്പിരിച്വൽ ബീയിങ്. അപ്പോൾ ഈ അകം എന്നുള്ള ബാൻഡിൻ്റെ ഡ്രൈവിംഗ് പ്രിൻസിപ്പിൾ വാസ് ടു പ്ലേ വാട്ട് യുവർ സോൾസ് കോളിംഗ് ഇസ്. ലൈക്ക് വെദർ ഓർ നോട്ട് it is music that should belong together or not. it is what each one of us wanted to bring to the table. So when we were trying to bring this imagery in my mind, that was what came to my mind. So ഈ തെയ്യം മുടി കെട്ടിക്കഴിഞ്ഞ തെയ്യം പിന്നെ മനുഷ്യനല്ല. അപ്പോൾ ജാതി പിന്നെ തെയ്യം ഭയങ്കര കേരളത്തിലെ ഒരു റിജിഡ് കാസ്റ്റ് ക്രീഡ് ഷാക്കിൾസ് ഒക്കെ ബ്രേക്ക് ചെയ്ത ഒരു ഫോമാണ് ഈ തെയ്യം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. സോ തെയ്യം ഇസ് സോ യൂണിക്. ഇപ്പോൾ നോർത്ത് കേരളയിൽ പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് എ കൾട്ട്. ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരു പാറക്കുളങ്ങര ഭഗവതി തെയ്യം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരു കൾട്ടാണ്. അത് കോഴിക്കോടൊക്കെ തലശ്ശേരിയൊക്കെ പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ കാണാൻ പറ്റും. അപ്പോൾ അതൊരു ഐ ഫെൽറ്റ് ഫോർ ഇറ്റ്. ഒരു ബ്രാൻഡായിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നമ്മളുടെ ഒരു ആർട്ടിനെ ഇതിലും നന്നായിട്ട് റെപ്രസെൻറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. ബിക്കോസ് വൺസ് വി ആർ ഡൂയിങ് ദിസ് ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് എൻറ്റയർലി സോൾ സാറ്റിസ്ഫൈസിങ്. വേറൊന്നുമില്ല, കാരണം ലൈവ് ആവുമെന്ന് വിശ്വാസമില്ല, ഒരു ഓഡിയൻസിനെ കിട്ടും എന്നറിയില്ല, ഓർ വെദർ ദിസ് വിൽ ഈവൻ ബി സക്സസ്ഫുൾ ഇൻ ഇറ്റ്സ് ലിമിറ്റഡ് ഫോം എന്നുള്ളത് അറിയില്ല. സോ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് വെരി ടൈറ്റ് ടു ദാറ്റ് നോഷൻ. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മളുടെ തന്നെ സെൽഫ് ആക്ച്വേഷൻ ദാറ്റ് യു ആർ പ്ലേയിങ് ദിസ് മ്യൂസിക് ഫോർ യുവർ സെൽഫ് ആൻഡ് യു ഫീൽ ഹാപ്പി അബൌട്ട് ഇറ്റ്. ആൻഡ് അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെയാണ് ഈ തെയ്യം എന്നുള്ള എൻറ്റിറ്റി വന്നത്. That is the intangible part of it. Then there are manifestations, right? Like Theyyam in itself is a very colorful medium. It has got a certain angst to it. It has got certain anger to it. So it was easy to sell the story. Sometimes the story that I told you is probably from the heart. When I'm speaking to a promoter, when I'm speaking to somebody, it has got more to do with how you project yourself. And I have sales background. I can sell anything. That's what we are taught to. So this is a very nice saleable story. Like you have a folk art connection, and sort of you are kind of using and leveraging that to create a visual identity for you. If you're doing backdrop work, if you make merchandise, it helps you in those counts as well. So it is part commercial, part non-commercial. That sweet spot for me. Like there is an emotional connect to it. So it was not done with commercial interest in mind, but it nicely played out to the commercial bent that we eventually ended up in. So when we became a band and when we had to run it, that branding played out to it. Like we didn't have to change it. We didn't have to reinvent the branding when we became a live act or when we could kind of play live music. So that's how it turned out. But it's largely a reflection of what I saw when I was growing up.
Sure.
അപ്പോൾ അതാണ് ബ്രാൻഡ് ഐഡൻറ്റിറ്റി. അപ്പോൾ ഈ ഡൈവേഴ്സ് മ്യൂസീഷ്യൻസിൻ്റെ പോയിന്റ് ദാറ്റ് യു റേസ്ഡ്, റൈറ്റ്? I think I've already spoken about it. That's going to stay, and each person is only doing what they want to do. Like the compromises have happened in very, very little minuscule ways. I don't think there's a single song where somebody played it because okay, you like it, so let me step back, I'll play what you want to play. It hasn't happened.
No, which is why probably the diversity's worked in your advantage. It's given Agam universal and indigenous sound at once.
That's true. Right? I wouldn't disagree on that. I mean, it has definitely helped us. It has definitely helped us sort of create that deviation and create that space for ourselves. I mean, that has helped us. So no denying that. But that also has had a detrimental impact on the number of songs that we are able to churn. Like for a band that's existed for so long, in the current form and the otherwise, our repertoire is not that big. So that is the flip side of that.
Yeah.
But then you trade something for something, so not affected by that.
Harish, Agam gave birth to a new genre of sorts, Carnatic progressive rock. Right?
So to speak. Not entirely true, but so to speak. I mean, I would take that. I would take that as a compliment.
Because you've always refuted the idea of the fact that you play fusion.
Yes, it's very,
because you've always played two sounds together.
Right.
And it's fallen into place for some reason.
Right.
How would you describe your sound if it were a person? How would you describe Agam as a person?
Wow. See, if Agam were an individual, it is a very layered, a person with a lot of positive and very yin and yang kind of going in concentric circles, like a lot of dark and light hues kind of running together. So Carnatic music is a very sattvic kind of music. There is very little anger in Carnatic music. If you see, there are at the most Carnatic music, it's just a plea, like I'm sad, help me Lord. It's a spiritual form of music, the seriously religious kind of music. While if you look at prog metal kind of questions every established notion when at least when it comes to times and rhythm signatures. Like, see, most of the music schools teach you to play a standard backbeat. So mixed meter or like, doing like, varied time signatures and kind of doing drop riffing, time signature riffing. These two, the very fact that these two things exist together in our songs makes it a pretty complicated person. A person that I will be very scared of if it was a real person, because that person is edgier than anybody's comfort. So it's a person that could break at any point but still surprise you with certain characteristics that you wouldn't have imagined existed in that person. And a lot of people say that about my own physical appearance. I mean, it's funny. So I have long hair. A lot of people ask me whether I started sporting that because I have a band. In all honesty, I did that when I had a situation in my family, and it was tough for me at the time, and I just started not paying attention to the fact that I'm probably not hitting a barber, or I just started growing my hair, and it just happened. And I sing Carnatic music, so I don't think like I probably have like a very angry sort of individual kind of an appearance. A lot of us do, but then that's not reflective of what we really are. So there's a paradox in Agam's sound. Like,
Yes.
When we put our picture, like there's a photo of ours, it looks like we would probably sound like any other, look and sound like a progressive metal band. Then we have this very mellow, like, sort of, just imagine we are singing like, Padira po venam, Adira rao venam. ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു പാട്ട് എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരു ഭയങ്കര സിമ്പിൾ മലയാളി പാടുന്ന സിംഗ് അലോങ് ഈസി ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഭയങ്കര സിമ്പിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു പാട്ട്, പക്ഷെ നിൽക്കുന്ന സെറ്റിങ്ങും ഒക്കെ വളരെ വ്യത്യസ്തമായിട്ട്. പിന്നെ അപ്പോൾ ഈ പാട്ട്, ഈ ബോട്ട് സോങ് ഉണ്ടാക്കിയത് ഭയങ്കര ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റിംഗ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഐഡിയ ആണ്. അപ്പോൾ ഈവൻ എൻ്റെ ബേസ് ഗിറ്റാറിസ്റ്റ് അവൻ്റെ ഹണിമൂണിന് പോയത് കേരളത്തിൽ, അവൻ്റെ കല്യാണം കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അവിടെ ഈ ആരാണ്ട് ഇങ്ങനെ പാടുന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, അവനത് കോമഡി ആയിട്ടുണ്ടെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ്. Dude, what a mental catch hook, man. You Malayalis are mad. I don't know how can you be like that. Appo angane paranjittu onnu paranjittu avan bass guitar eduthu kai pidichittu veruthe tune onnu illade tittara tittei random notes vaayikkan thodangി. Appo njan paranju nee vaayik njan paadam, don't sing like an idiot, I will sing it better than you. Appo angane aa catch hook setup aayapol ആണ് ഈ പാട്ട്, ഇത് നമുക്കൊരു പാട്ടാക്കിയാലോ. വെറുതെ അങ്ങനെ തോന്നി. ഒരു 3/4 മണിക്കൂർ, എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്ന ഒരു 30 minutes we wrote the entire song's melody, because there's nothing really in it. If you see that, it has got, അതിൻ്റെ മ്യൂസിക്കാലിറ്റി ഒക്കെ ഭയങ്കര നോർമലാണ്, ഭയങ്കര കോംപ്ലക്സ് തിങ്കിങ് ഒന്നുമില്ല, ഭയങ്കര സിംപ്ലിസ്റ്റിക് ആയിട്ട് ഏതൊരു സാധാരണ മനുഷ്യനും പാടുന്നൊരു ട്യൂണാണ്. അപ്പം പാതിര പൂ വേണം, മാതിര രാവ് വേണം, പാടിക്കളിക്കുവാനായാളിമ വേണം, തുഴക്കാരമ്പത് വേണം, തോണികളായി മായിരം വേണം, കായലിലോളം തുള്ളും ദിത്തിത്താരാദിത്തിത്തേതോ എന്നുവെച്ചാൽ ഒരു സ്ട്രെയിറ്റ് നോട്ട് വെച്ചിട്ട്. But this is one song, it sounded mental catchy. Like, we just did this Pallavi, and it's like, dude, this is awesome. We have been working so hard to make complicated things, like, always been questioning ourselves to do more and more complex things. Why the hell aren't we doing a song like this? Then like, Swami walked in and said, dude, this sounds very filmy. I said, like, screw it, man, it's all right, it sounds filmy, we'll make this song. And we made it. And Praveen came and did a whole bunch of Carnatic slides and leads and all that. We made it very seriously. Went to the studio. In about 5 days, the song was done. Like, we went to the home studio and recorded it. And we played it. The response was awesome, man. We didn't play it in Kerala.
So biggest crowd puller.
We played it in Bangalore. Half the crowd didn't understand a word of Malayalam.
Hard Rock, right?
Yeah, in Hard Rock Cafe, the crowd didn't understand a word of Malayalam. Very, very distributed, metropolitan, heterogeneous crowd that you would see in any bar in a city like Bangalore. And I saw like a white man putting an effort to sing this chorus. I thought, this is crazy. Then we ended up playing that in Kerala. We still have people show up for our gigs. ആ പാട്ട് കേട്ടിട്ട് പോകുന്നവരുണ്ട്. എടാ ബോട്ട് സോങ് കഴിഞ്ഞാ? ഓ കഴിഞ്ഞ, എന്നാൽ ഞാൻ ഇനി വരണില്ല എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ആൾക്കാരുണ്ട്. അവർ പാടിയാ? ഓ പാടിയിട്ടില്ലേ, എന്നാൽ എപ്പോൾ വരാം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ബൈക്കൊക്കെ എടുത്ത് വരുന്ന ആൾക്കാരൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ that song ended up being one of our most accidental compositions which kind of didn't have any clear agenda in my mind. But even the credit goes to the fact that somebody just reminded me of that, or a catch hook, and it just worked, man.
Harish, what's the most fun part about playing music for you? What do you enjoy the most?
Music is very honest, right? It's a very garbage in, garbage out kind of honest space. Like, you do something beautiful, it turns out beautiful. You do something sloppy, it turns out sloppy. While I do a programming job, right? You can always do a half-assed program. You can write one.
You get what you bring to it.
I mean, the point is a half-assed program can be passed off as a good program till somebody finds fault with it. But there's no half-assed music. I mean, you make music, it's either that or it's something worth nobody's time. So I love the fact that I can bring out that honesty in me. There's no pretense. Like, it is what you are and it is what you're able to do. I mean, I won't be able to do something that I want to do. I can only do what I can do. Yeah. So that brings the element of happiness. Like, let's try this. And secondly, when the Agam became a live act and when we actually had people come for our shows and listen to our music, playing for someone became the most attractive thing. Like, playing for people, real people, like not the virtual blogosphere where you don't know the faces of people that are listening to you. We used to get odd emails saying like, nice start, you guys should do more music. But you had like 10 people, like face to face, and they're listening to you and there is a connect. And the most fun part in reality is that we all go into this artificial shield of, disbelief that we have other things to do in life. So we just switch that off. Like, we have day jobs, we have family to take care of. So all that kind of goes off your head for like 4 hours of your life. You're just playing music, not thinking about what's going to be in the office tomorrow or you have to pay your power bill. All your otherwise mundane pursuits kind of go off your head. And you meet people, and there are some single people in the band. They meet people that they want to meet. So I think
whatever works.
Yeah, I think for me personally, I think it is the fact that I can do something and get to know immediately whether that's what worked or that's what